This is the 3-time Impact Wrestling X Division champion, the newest member of Bullet Club. I am the inevitable Ace Austin. And right now I want you to check out something on YouTube for me. If you're looking for some wrestling content on YouTube, go ahead and head over to the NatioNetwork. All right, they got some old school, they got some new school, and I'm willing to bet, chances are they've got something that you'll like, and that is inevitable.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is the Nation Network. I'm your host, Vince McSham, and this is What's News. So we're going to cover some of the things that took place in the last, 24 hours, realistically. The NXT program and, of course, the AEW had a pretty good night, and I feel like they've been fledgling lately. So for them to have a good night is a good thing. They need it, in my opinion, for what it's worth. Let me pop this over here. And get that going in there. And as we get ready to talk about what's up and what's happening, please help us welcome Jay back to the stream.
What's up?
How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm all right. So I think we can first discuss, I guess we'll start with the NXT. Not a bad show for them. Again, there's one more week of the Saturday morning Splash Arena, and then we're supposed to see the new Black and Gold, which hopefully will look a lot like the old Black and Gold, and maybe get back down to some wrestling and get rid of the cartoon crap, which I know I'm looking forward to.
Absolutely. My only hope is that eventually they'll take it from the Performance Center and start take it back to maybe Full Sails, where they have a bigger and, in my opinion, a better audience than what they've got right now in the Performance Center. So
I don't see them going back to Full Sail just from a cost-effective basis. Why pay rent when we already have a place? And what I think they need to do, and I'm in Florida, and if they're doing it already, they're not doing a good job of advertising it. They need to do the house shows like they did back in the day when it was Championship Wrestling from Florida or FCW. They did a lot of house shows around the state. And
that's the thing. It's like I've heard a few people talk about that, maybe not with this roster, you're not going to sell out the 60,000 people arenas, but if you do like your smaller venues and stuff like that, I can see them having a packed booking every time. So
yep, and it's just a good chance, and more reps is always a good thing. Everybody knows that, and you've got some younger folks in there that can definitely benefit from it. On the job training is still one of my favorite ways of learning things.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the NXT, a couple of things happened. In particular, we saw these guys come together, and Solo had to relinquish the North American Championship. There was a lot of questions when he won the title as to whether or not he was going to defend it as part of the Bloodline on SmackDown, which he did do. I don't see the logic in taking it from him. I mean, obviously you can't let him lose the title anytime soon because you're making him out to be this badass.
Right.
So that definitely creates a conundrum. But as I was explaining to you before we went on, NXT is taped in advance, and it's like several weeks of taping, much like Impact does.
Yeah.
So, tough situation, no doubt about it.
I mean, I guess if they play this right, we'll find out if they reference it on SmackDown tomorrow, because here now you have somebody who's a member of the Bloodline and they've lost their title. So I'm curious to see if they actually have Roman Reigns addressed at the Solo and see, there's ways they can work this that it'll work out really well for them. They've just got to take those opportunities when they get them. If they do something like that, I won't have a problem with them taking it from him because it furthers that Bloodline storyline. But if they just kind of sweep it under the rug, then I'm going to have an issue with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they can say he lost. He didn't lose it. It was taken from him. He had to surrender it. It's NXT property, and you're no longer NXT. So I don't know where that would be an issue, like with Roman in a story mode. But I guess we'll all find out real soon.
Yeah.
Like in 24 hours. And Roman's supposed to be on
exactly.
Roman's supposed to be on SmackDown this week, right? Yeah. So it'll be very interesting to see how that all plays out. I love what they're doing with Sammy. I didn't like it in the beginning. I'm loving it now. I think the whole way that he's kind of weaseling his way in as one of the top confidants with the group, and the fact that one of the Usos likes him, the other one doesn't, and now Solo handpicked him to come to the ring, and he kind of took over from Paul Heyman against McIntyre. Or not McIntyre, but what's his name there? Logan.
Yeah,
when they was in the in-ring confrontation. I just think they're doing a really good job, and I can't wait to see what the payoff ends up being. I've got some ideas, but I got a feeling it'll be even better than what I'm imagining. So this has a ton of potential to be really a great moment. Good build to
absolutely.
it.
I mean, I wasn't a fan of the. I'm sure I'm probably one of the only ones that wasn't, but until recently, I haven't been a fan of the Bloodline. But with everything that they've done within the last month, I'm hooked, because, like you said, the things they're doing with Sammy now, and just it makes it interesting. It's not just them coming out and running roughshod. Now you're seeing little chinks in the armor of the group and going, okay, well, Jay don't like this, and now, like you said, Solo picked Sammy to go out over his own older brother. So, these are all little things that we know from wrestling history that can destroy a group.
Well, I don't see that happening anytime soon with the Bloodline. I think they're around for a while. I think they're setting with Solo a good stage for who's going to take over, because we all know Roman's getting ready to go Hollywood. So how much more time does he have left on the clock? Not so sure about that, but I don't think they are looking to get rid of the Bloodline. I think they realize they have a cash cow here that can last a while. This has 4 horsemen potential to go 2, 3, 4 years and be a dominant force. Yeah. And hell, he's 8 years younger than his brother, so why not put the ball on the youngest buck in the stable, so to speak? Because that writes itself too, man. Y'all picked me down, kept me down when I was younger, or treated me like the kid. Well, now who's the boss?
Right.
I can see that happening. The other thing on NXT was a really good main event. I gotta be honest, I fast forward a lot of the undercard because it just didn't interest me. I didn't know the people, didn't really, if your entrance doesn't grab me and I don't know you, that's strike 2, and I usually don't go for the third strike. But in the interest of time, and this is really the issue we have now, there's too much wrestling on TV, because if you're going to try and watch the stuff, I mean, I got other stuff to do. I'm not going to sit through 12 hours of wrestling every friggin' week. So unfortunately, that means a lot of fast forwarding. And NXT's main event intrigued me enough where I've seen both of these guys in the past. I respect their work a lot. I know they have a deep history. Not that I'd personally seen a lot of it, but it was a great main event. We're going to take a look right now at the closing moments.
Oh, that's got to be it. McDonough now looking for the devil inside. Center of the ring. No doubt about it. McDonough's got a date with Braun Breaker.
Here is your winner, J.D. McDonough.
What a finisher, man. I love that finisher. Is that in the game? I'm going to have to check it out later.
Yeah, it is actually.
It is?
Yeah, he does that. Yeah, he does the headbutt, then grabs the arm and pulls you up and slams you back. So, yeah, it's in there.
The devil inside, man. I'll tell you what, that is a hell of a move, and the timing has to be spot on. He nailed it. They're both just really top-notch talent, but now he moves on to take on Braun Breaker at Halloween Havoc in the main event. But we're not done. Wait, there's more. Dominic, there we go. Dominic Djokovic, something like that. I can better say it when I see it in front of me, which I don't at the moment have up, unfortunately. Dom is makes his big entrance. Place goes crazy. And now it looks like we're setting up for a three-way. That makes sense because we all know Braun's ready for the main events. He's going onto the main roster. You don't want him going in after losing to someone, so put him in a triple threat match. They determine the outcome. He has nothing to do with it. Loses the title without losing the match.
And the other thing is, here we go. Dom, he never lost the title. He had to relinquish it because of an injury. So he's the champion who never lost. So that brings in the whole dynamic of, does he get the title back, and then he keeps feuding with JD, or does JD somehow weasel his way to get the title, and then Dom goes after him? Either way, Braun, like you said, is going to the main event, but it adds that whole, I never lost the title. I'm coming back to basically reclaim what was mine.
Indeed. Well, it's going to be an entertaining match no matter how they do it, but I'm feeling strongly they're going to go with a triple threat match. So you got Jesus Louise, Djokovic, whatever the heck, however you pronounce his name. You're changing all the friggin' names in wrestling. Can't you change his to something we can pronounce? Dijakovic, something like that shit.
That's it.
Anyway, yeah, sure, whatever. With him, Braun, and JD in the triple threat, that's going to be a tremendous match. And again, that should be part of Halloween Havoc. I love the fact that NXT is taking all of the old WCW pay-per-view names. I think that's great to keep those names alive, and it's good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so we'll move along now to the AEW. First off, news that is bubbling right now is that Mr. CM Punk has wrestled his last match. That they are apparently looking to buy him out of his contract and be done with him. I say good riddance.
And honestly, that's not a surprise.
No, man. This dude has been, with the exception of his feud with MJF, that's it. He's just been a pain in the ass. He has done them no favors from everything I can see. Did he bring more eyes to the screen for a brief moment in time? Yes. Did it stay? No, it didn't stay. It dropped right back off again. He had that initial pop because, of course, 7 years gone and people missed him until they realized why they really didn't. He's all about him. He says he's there to make the young people better. And I grant you, the young people of today, this kind of came up a little bit in the recent conversation we had with ODB, in that today's generation isn't built the same way they were back in the day. They didn't come up through the grunge of the old dirty gyms and having to get in some 1972 piece of shit car and drive across the country and then get there and find out your envelope has got less in it than was supposed to have in it. These guys have the friggin' Marriott training center over here with the production company of the WWE, and then first class facilities top to bottom. So they start to break a sweat, somebody's there to wipe it off for them.
Right.
And I think
I was just going to say, the other thing is, when you've been around as long as he has, you want to have your spot at the top, but basically your job is to make the next generation. That's it. When you come back in like this, like Moxley, Bryan Danielson, Jericho, they've all done they've all put over other younger talent, and that's what they're there for, to make this next generation. Punk didn't want to do that. He wanted to still be the man, and it don't work, because if you're going to bury all the younger talent, eventually your body's going to go. Then who do you got?
See, I don't know that he wanted to be the man. I don't really even believe that necessarily. I think Tony Khan wanted him to be the man because he has his little play set now. And I got the new CM Punk figure. And he just wanted, he wanted that name on his championship title. I believe that wholeheartedly. And then after that, hard to say what goes through the mind. But then you got CM Punk getting injured not once, but twice the day he wins the world title or the day after, either way, and can't do anything with it. And by the way, it's Dijakovic. Might have to just leave that up there every time we talk about the guy. Thank you for that.
There you go.
Welcome aboard, everybody, by the way. Sorry, it's been a kind of backwards entrance into this because it was a last-minute thing, and I'm trying to put all this stuff together. But, so anyway, there's a exit likely for CM Punk. I think that's a good thing. He wasn't happy, I'm sure, especially at the end of the day. And that press conference now looking a lot more like it was a legit shoot, which, if that's the case, you took away from the entire pay-per-view event as it was.
Yeah.
Nobody needs that kind of drama in a locker room, especially from a guy who has maybe 2 years left in him. And the way he's getting injured all the damn time, he doesn't even have that.
Yeah. And not only that, you've got all these there that you can put into that spot. I mean, you're not really doing anything with Wardlow at the moment as the TNT champion. Move him up into that spot. He can do it.
He can't do worse than Moxley. I mean, Jesus, 3 times in a row.
Right.
You put the belt on him for 3 weeks before he lost it to Punk. Now you're going to put it back on him again, knowing he's going to lose JF.
Right. But see, that's where it goes back to, he doesn't mind putting over the younger talent. He will take that hit to make the company and the storylines progress. And that's one thing
so would Bryan Danielson, who hasn't
yet. And that has to be one of my gripes from last night, is that I really thought they were going to give it to Danielson because he would have at least a month run with the belt before he lost it to MJF. But yeah, that really kind of surprised me when they had Moxley go over on Danielson. Unless Danielson said, "Hey, I don't want the title right now." So
I don't know. I just, the thought of Moxley having it 3 times, and especially twice, where he's gonna lose that title 2 times inside of 7 months.
Yeah.
When was the last time a world champion lost, regained, lost the title within the same calendar year? I'm literally trying to think about it, and I can't come up with one.
Yeah, but they've had kind of had a shitty year up until about now. So, they've had to move the title around a bit, just like you said, because Punk kept getting injured. So,
all right. Well, it is what it is. They've done what they've done. I can think of a million better ways they could have handled the situation, and it wouldn't have been it's just not good. Anyway, there was another moment that took place last night that I was a lot more, I guess I'd say I'm happier about it, but then we'll talk about it on the backside. Here's the clip.
She's going to send a message to the champion here.
She's seen a ghost, but it's not a ghost. It's Saraya here. Run! Saraya in AEW. Holy smokes! What a moment! That's called a pop, baby. Wow! What a reaction! Shocking moment here. Look at the face of all of them. All the women.
What a moment for the arrival of Saraya in AEW.
I saw the name appear and I'm thinking, nah. Yeah, me too. No,
Tony Storm and Athena stunned as well.
everyone's shocked. What a moment that we will, and those ladies will, never forget. Well, in my professional opinion, the landscape in the women's roster here at AEW just changed, boys.
Saraya just said, this is my house.
Talking about the ring, she invited them all in, but nobody's budging.
The landscape has changed and changed significantly with the arrival of Saraya.
Yeah, it has indeed. That is a big signing. If I'm in the WWE in a position of power, I wouldn't have signed her for an in-ring role, simply because she's fragile.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be on my conscience that she ends up paralyzed. And I hope that does not happen, but I think her odds of it happening are much greater in AEW than they are in the WWE. You know, we can talk about the Marriott Training Center, but at the same point in time, they are trained properly. And there's a lot of, like you and I were talking about before we went on, what happened with Ty Conti and Sammy Guevara to Ruby Soho a couple of weeks ago is disgusting. And if that would have happened to Saraya, or if that were to happen, I guarantee you her career is over. If she's lucky, that's all it is.
Yeah. Well, from the way things are looking, I think they'll end up being more of tag team matches with her to go against like Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker. So she won't be in the ring by herself all the time. Because part of that we didn't show was she did open up the ring ropes, and Athena and Tony Storm came in and she hugged them. They all raised hands, so I can see them kind of forming in a little group to go after the other four that were outside the ring. And so I think that might be where they run this. I don't think she's going to have too many one-on-one matches herself.
I don't know. I'll be curious to see. I know she wants to get back in the ring. She's made it very clear that she wants to. Now we're in a place where we know that she's got a company that will allow her to, even if they shouldn't.
Well, I mean, she has been cleared by doctors, and we've seen, Edge got cleared, Christian's been cleared.
None of them had the severity that she's had. That's the difference. I mean, she was already so close to being a paraplegic with that last injury. Yeah. And as much as I've said, and I still stand by this, that it was Sasha Banks' fault, that she was already there after coming back from a really bad injury. So you've got to protect these people a little bit better. And Sasha, man, she laid in with that drop kick. I mean, it wasn't cool. I have a really...
Yeah, and I mean, Sasha took responsibility for that, but just like anything, like with... Nice. But here's the thing, and I mean, unless you've done this, it's kind of hard. I guess my mentality is a little bit different on it because I have done it on the independents. It's just that shit happens. I mean, that's just how it is. Look at Big E. Big E could hold the biggest fucking grudge he wanted, but he don't, because it was an accident, a freak accident. What's his name? The other one.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I don't remember his name either.
Right. He wasn't going to hurt. He didn't go out to hurt Big E. It just, the move went wrong.
And that happens. You're right.
Yeah.
I just felt the difference between those two examples is there was nothing about the execution of the move that he did incorrectly. It just, the rotation didn't happen the way it should have happened. Okay, that kind of thing happens. Sasha hit her with an impact. You're fully in control of that. You have to be in control of that. And when you're in there with a player that is already fragile, already coming back from injury, serious injury. I mean, I don't got to tell you, you know this, that the job is we make it look real, but nobody gets hurt. And Sasha's not the first time where she's gotten a little careless or a little extra physical, maybe because she thinks she's smaller, that she won't have. But then again, Paige ain't any bigger than Sasha. I don't know. When I see that impact that took place, I just cringe every time, and I think of how dangerous it was, proving to be very dangerous. And I know she has regrets about it, and I saw her upset in the ring moments later. But I just that only goes so far with me when it was very avoidable. Yeah. So anyway, her getting in the ring with AEW with some of the loose cannons in there just makes me nervous.
Well, I think it'll all come down to Paige herself. She knows best what her physical state is, and she should be able to say, okay, this I can do, this I can't. I'm not ready to do that yet. And hopefully she'll just do a slow build to test herself, to get her back to that point where she can go, okay, I can do these things again. So
yeah. Well, for her sake, I really do hope and pray that things go well and she gets whatever she wants to get out of this. I can already in my mind come up with several matches that I would love to see. Her and Britt Baker would be number one right out the gate. And then the list from there, I mean, it's like her and Toni Storm could have some really great matches. When Thunder Rosa gets back, that would be amazing stuff there. Although I think Thunder Rosa might be a little stiff for her to be in the ring with. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would be a little tentative about putting her in the ring with Thunder Rosa. Not to say she's reckless or anything. She's no Guevara, but you really got to protect this girl from herself, maybe if nobody else.
Yeah.
Did she went back to England recently and did some stuff with her parents' promotion, I believe. Did she actually get in the ring? Do we know if she got in the ring?
I don't know if she actually got in the ring, but I do know she went back and did some promotional stuff with them, because I did see a tweet from her brother today saying, you've got one night there. Hey, Tony, is there room for another night? So I'm curious to see if maybe they do bring her brother in and maybe start a family thing there. That could be kind of interesting too.
How old do you figure her brother is now? How old is she? She's like late 20s, or she already broke 30s? She's probably in her 30s.
She's right around. I think she's right around the 30 mark. Her brother's probably mid 30s, because he was a few years older than her. So, but the picture from his Twitter page, he looks phenomenal. So I could see him getting in there and going one-on-one with Wardlow and guys like that. He's got that build and stuff. So
is he that big a guy?
Yeah.
Really? Well, I didn't know that she had a brother who was like, big. Was in the movie.
Yeah, you wouldn't know it if you watch Wrestling with My Family or Fighting with My Family. Yeah, he looks kind of small there, but that's been, how many years ago? He's bulked up. He's got some size to him now.
Yeah, that was an actor though. It wasn't even him.
Oh, I understand that. I'm just saying that they were trying to base it on them at that time. It's been years now. He's bulked up. He's got some size to him. So,
well, it'll be interesting to see where this goes. Like I said, I worry that sometimes people put themselves in harm's way when it's not necessary, and she can do it. As she proved, even when she was coming back from the first injury, they didn't let her in the ring. And she was doing great just as a mouthpiece and as a leader of a group. So she definitely has that ability. And it would be something good to offset.
And maybe that's where they start her with this, Like I said, Toni Storm, Athena got in the ring with her. They all stood there together, so hopefully maybe she starts forming her own little group and says, okay, these other girls want to try to run roughshod. This is my girls now, and this is what we're going to do. So,
indeed. All right, taking a look at some of the comments here. Purist says that Punk just said the truth, and the truth with Vince and things may have sucked, but with them, it's shit. It's absolute shit. He may have spoke the truth. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm not saying he didn't say exactly what happened between him and old Boom Boom there. But that wasn't the time, wasn't the place. And when you take a platform like that, and Punk has had a track record of doing that in the last several months, of just kind of exploiting Tony, giving him this spotlight and a microphone to promote his own agenda. And what you have to understand is while you're at the AEW event with an AEW microphone representing them as their champion, you are representing AEW. So the things you say, if they are found to be conflicting with either AEW, Tony Khan, or what have you, they're being conflicting under the banner itself, and they get lumped into it. So case in point, when you walk out with a pro-abortion t-shirt on the show that people watch so they don't have to deal with the world, I mean, I'm going to presume Tony knew he was wearing it, but if he didn't, he might have been like, whoa, dude, you know, because now that goes with AEW, that the people who don't agree with your point of view may now stop watching our product. And I guarantee you some people did, because it's offensive. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say that I had no problem with what Punk said at that press conference. I just thought him doing it at the press conference was not the right time, because where they had great matches on that show, it took all that work got wiped away with what he did. If he wanted to speak his mind like that, there's millions of fucking podcasts out here he could have went on afterwards and spoke his piece, and I'd have been okay with it. But because you take away from the job that everybody else did that night because you've got your panties in a bunch over something, I can't get behind that.
And to the point you just made, the Stone Cold Broken Skull sessions, how many people listen to his and watch his? No, I'm saying, like, overall, though, how many?
Oh, my God, so many.
Like, he's in the millions or close to it anyway, if not.
Yeah. Him and Jericho both.
Yeah, and I was going to get down to that. I was going to say there's others as well. You don't think, and obviously we all like Cornette, you don't think that CM Punk couldn't start a podcast tomorrow or a YouTube show tomorrow and have 1 million subs?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So if you want to talk your shit and if you want to spiel your political beliefs and all that good stuff, do it. Just don't do it on Tony's dime in front of his cameras. Because in other words, if I know CM Punk has got a podcast or talk show, whatever it is, I know by tuning in that he and I are going to differ on many things. Now, I choose whether or not I want to engage in listening to that rhetoric. But when I'm watching wrestling with the anticipation of being just entertained and being able to turn off the world news for 2 hours, and then you come and slap me in the face with it, now it makes me not want to watch that program anymore, because you took away the time that I was trying to decompress and you got me up again.
Yeah.
So I don't think, what he did at the press conference, same logic, him promoting him, and just not the right time, not the right place. And he can get all of that out by having his own show.
And he could, I guarantee you, he could go to any of these podcast groups and they would put him on in a heartbeat.
Of course they would. I mean, he can get, who's not going to host CM Punk? I mean, all he's going to do is bump up your ratings and your sub count and everything else. But if you're CM Punk, why would you want that? Why wouldn't you just do your own? He's great with a microphone. Again, whether I agree or disagree, he is a great talker. He's a great thinker. He can, again, I might differ in his thought process, but he can definitely acquire information and then regurgitate it to the masses in a manner that is often entertaining. And he would do well. He would do really well.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll be honest with you, I'd probably listen to it just to hear what he had to say. Just because.
Well, at this point, that might be his new thing in life, because I think wrestling in general is going to want to not have him around, because he is just not clicking very well with locker rooms, it seems. Walter Johnson's in the house. Welcome aboard. I think we said Matthew Soper, thank you for being here, buddy. And Andrew Roberts, of course, wrestling purist, is in the house. And yeah, I'll say this, Purist brings up a point that the Elite had a role to play in it. But again, but why did they have a role to play in it? CM Punk is there in front of this live press conference stating, hey, anyone's got a problem with me? Come see me in the back.
Yep.
So they went to see him in the back. Now, we still haven't heard the official verdict on who did what first. And until we have that, we really can't draw the rest of the picture out effectively. The fact that the head of HR was in the damn room and you have to have an investigation is a little sketchy to me.
Right.
This should be the easiest investigation of all time. But now all of a sudden you got and then you got the who's biting who and all this craziness.
Well, I think it makes it more complicated is because had the Elite guys just been other performers, it would have probably been open and closed. But because they hold a level of power in the company, so to speak, it puts everything on a whole different level.
Yeah, they hold a title. They really don't hold any power, according to Tony. It's more of a title.
Yeah, but still, holding a title, still, you're saying these guys are my executive guys in my company. That'd be like me going to my boss and whooping his ass, or him coming to me and beating my ass. And he's got a position of power over me, and it's like when you if it's just me and another employee, it'd be different. But when you get people that's higher ups like that, because I guarantee you, Punk was probably screaming, "I'm going to sue you! I'm going to sue you! I'm going to sue you!" And so that's why they had to do this whole investigation.
There's a lot of talk about that very thing right now, that is happening.
Yeah.
So let me see something here. No, it's still not working. They have these different layouts here on the bottom that are supposed to do different things than they're doing, I guess. But I'll have to figure that out on a separate time. Okay, well, that's the news for the last 24 hours, and it's been a decent 24 hours. We remind everybody that on Saturday, what's that? Go ahead.
I was just going to say we didn't talk about it, but I have to mention this because my favorite match off of last night was the tag team match. That to me was a hell of a match. Which match are we referring to? The Acclaimed versus Swerve in Our Glory. That match right there was the highlight for matches for me, just because them four guys worked really well together. It was a very entertaining match, and I can't think back in history when you have a tag team come out where one member is hated so much and then the other one is cheered. You got Swerve, who's this ultra heel, and then his tag team partner Keith Lee, who's this super over baby face, and it just makes for an interesting dynamic, I guess.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of back in ECW when Lance Storm and Candido had the tag team titles, and they were not in storyline friends at all. They just kind of fell into the tag team title match and then ended up winning the titles. And Heyman basically told them that if you guys in any way lose these titles because one of you threw it in or whatever it is, you'll both be suspended forever and kicked out of ECW and all this stuff. So reluctantly, they kept on winning week after week, and it was great stuff the way they would do it, because there were moments where it looked like for sure, like Candido would drop off the apron like, fuck you, I'm out of this match. And then at the last minute, when he realized his guy's about to get pinned, he'd dive in the ring, make the save. So it kind of has a little of that flavor to it. But you're right, though. It's rare. And matter of fact, that's the only other time I can even think about something close to that.
Yeah, because I forgot about them. So, yeah, I can see that.
I'll say when it comes to pops last night, there were two massive pops. The one for the Acclaim winning the tag team titles, they're over, and give credit. AEW got these guys solidly over with the fans. And a lot of other wrestling promotions over the years have taken from the WWE and then had talent come in that never really got to the same level as the WWE. But here you've got a couple of homegrowns that you managed to really get Hardy level pops for.
Yeah.
And I had to turn my TV down when Saraya came out.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That was a legit pop. And I'll say one last thing about last night's show. There's a video, and I didn't have time to do that one, on YouTube from a fan that was in attendance. And granted, it was like 5 minutes before bell time. And a lot of people, like when you go to these live events, they're doing dark first and then the Dynamite show. So it was right before dark, and a lot of people do filter in after the fact. But he was doing the panorama with the camera video, and there was a lot of empty seats at that time. Now, whether they were still all empty by the time main event rolls around, don't know. But there was a lot.
Yeah.
So, then again, there's a lot going on in the world right now, too. A lot of people still struggling when it comes to income.
Right.
Going to $100 a ticket wrestling is definitely going to fall low on my scale of things I have to do. They've kind of priced themselves into these situations, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. Hang out for just a second, because I want to remind you that on Saturday night, that's PWI R&R returns. 6:05 is the scheduled start time for that. Make sure you guys are here. Test your wrestling knowledge. If you want to be part of that show, we are going to have an open opportunity. We've got a defending champion who's going to be here to defend his title. I'm sure Jay will be here trying once again to take it from him. We've got a whole thing of rules worked out to make this a little bit more competitive, entertaining, faster moving, all that good stuff. It's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to this.
So am I. I've had a blast going head to head with Purist, but his reign's about done. Whether it's me or somebody else, somebody's got to take this title off of him. It's either going to be me or somebody else. So,
who's it going to be? The PWI Championship Challenge.
Woo. That's nice.
Isn't that pretty? Isn't that pretty? All right. Before we go, though, I want to share something with you guys. I thought this was great. Remember, when you're going to bury a body, cover it with endangered plants so it's illegal to dig it up.
I saw that today, too.
I loved it. I said, man, it's brilliant. Brilliant, I tell you.
Yep.
Ooh. It's getting personal now.
All right. Okay. We'll see Saturday, boy. We'll do this. I'm ready to go. Oh, yeah. Dig it.
Getting awfully real up in here. I'm just saying. All right. Well, we will see you on Saturday. I don't know. I might do something in between now and then. Just depends. I've got some actual real work going on for the next 2 days. We've got a rodeo in town, literally.
Woo.
So, yeah, that's going to probably keep me tied up for multiple hours each of those days. But by Sunday, Monday, I'll be back to it. Saturday, I can tell you right now, Saturday is not going to be 6:05.
I thought you said 7 to me the other day.
That's what I'm starting to think now, and even that's going to be pushing it. It might be 7:30 even. So,
okay.
Purist just giving you.
So
a heads
everybody,
up.
just keep 2 hours open from 6 to 8. That's when we'll do it. Sometime in that time.
Somewhere right in that Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, because I've got and it's 2 weekends in a row of the rodeo, so gotta be there for that. Can't trust the inmates to run the asylum. Look what happened to AEW when they tried that, and I can't afford it.
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, everybody have a great rest of your day. From ringside for Jay, Vince McSham saying we'll see you again real soon. Take care.